Hello everyone, Flying Dutchie here and welcome back to part 2 in our Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial for complete beginners. We are playing as Germany, as I said in the last episode, because Germany is the aggressor and that makes sure that we control when World War II starts. So only when we are ready for it. In the last episode we talked about what we see on the screen here. Not these ones, but these buttons here. And we did a couple of our pop-ups over here, which opens up a lot of these buttons, and we will now continue going over all these buttons and see what else is on the screen. So let's start with tackling another pop-up over here. We have no divisions in basic training. So when I click this, we're going to the recruit and deploy screen over here. And in this screen, you can start training divisions. We have an infantry division, a panzer division, we have an infantry division motorized, we have a mountaineer division, a Gebirgsbrigade, and we have cavalry brigade. And we have all of these right now in the field. And I will explain why I don't like this to be in the field, or this one to be in the field. And we don't really care about the mountaineers, so what we want is more infantry and more panzers. I guess we can... Yeah, you can change the symbols by the way, but let's click on the edit button and see what this infantry division is. I will not talk about the stats, we will do that later. But you can see over here that this infantry division is 9 infantry battalions. Yeah, these are battalions. We have 9 infantry battalions. We have an engineer support company and an artillery support company. And these 11 things give these stats. So at the moment this is a very weak attacking division with a huge amount of defense really, and a huge amount of organization. This one is very good at defending. And we are going to make more of these. We'll click on the train button. And there you can see that it's going to be listed in the recruit and deploy screen. You have reinforcements, that gives your stuff that you make to your armies that are already in the field. You can upgrade from weapons 1 to weapons 2. Your supply trucks need to be sure that they are going to be in the supply. And you have garrisons. Now we will go over these later, what all these things are. And then now there is a 5th thing added. The infantry division. And what will happen now is that this division is going to get his stuff from the factories. This division needs infantry equipment, it needs 30 support equipment, and it needs 12 artillery for the support artillery. And when it's getting that, and it's when it's a little bit trained to the maximum here, we can then field this infantry division on the map and put it in an army. So we want to get more of these than one. So what I will do here is click on the add unit. And I'm going to make something like 8 divisions at the same time. So all the stuff that we produce now in the factories are going to our new units. They will train up with the new equipment and then they will go into the field. So we're going to make more infantry. I also want to make more panzer divisions. So I'm going to click the train button here. Let's take a look at the panzer division. It's a very small one. It's 4 light tanks and 2 motorized infantry. This one is having a bit more soft attack and a lot more breakthrough. So this one is very good at fighting. It's the only thing you need to know about right now. And I'm not going to change this template. I'm just going to make, I guess, 2 at the same time more. You don't want to make too many tanks at the same time because it takes a long time to build tanks out of your factories. So this will now get built, they will get their equipment over time and then they train. We will take a look at these locations and things later in the game. For now we have tackled this pop-up and they are gonna try to train and make infantry and tanks. Okay, I will wait with this one because that is the last one we want to go over, because then we are going into the army view and stuff. Let's go to the decisions available screen. That opens up this tab over here, the decision screen. So, as I told you in the last episode, your political power is used for your national focus that we are doing, the 4-year plan. It's for your hiring of cabinet workers, and it's for your decisions over here. And as Germany, we start with an event called the MEFO, or the MEFO bills. And you can read this if you want, but these are just bills that keep things secret, and that we are getting a huge boost to construction. We could cancel this right now. I don't know why you would cancel it. We are absolutely not going to cancel it, so we are going to click this green button here. The pop-up will go away because this is the only thing we can click right now, because it doesn't cost any political power. And we will absolutely do not want to cancel these bills, because they give a bonus. Now you can see over here that we have a timer of 180 days. Every 180 days, the MEFO bills become more expensive. And it costs us more political power, more PP over here. But we always want to keep this until the moment we go to war. The penalty is fine. We will have some focuses in our national focus tree. For example, annex Austria, the Anschluss. And then we are going to use a gold reserves of Austria to make the penalty of the MEFO bills to go down. So you never want to stop these bills. There is absolutely no reason for it. Now, there are more things you can do with your political power, but we will take a look over these when we have enough points. So right now, these are all the only decisions and events for Germany, and we have taken care of the pop-up. We do not want to cancel it. I will show soon why that is. And the other things we can't do anything with, so we've taken care of all of that. Now let's go to the insufficient resources. Do you remember that I talked about the rubber? Our planes, let's enable all our stuff again. Our trucks and our planes are not having the rubber. And the further down these production things here, the bigger the penalty they have. 35 lack of resources, 40% lack of resources. And it shows you over here, when you hover over it, we need 8 rubber. And we can get this. So when I click this button, we go to the trade screen. You can trade with other people's resources. And you can use this to no longer have a deficit. For example, you can see that we don't extract any rubber, but we need 8. And when I click on the rubber icon here, you can see all the countries in the world that produce any rubber. And we are going to import rubber from someone. So I could get rubber from the Dutch East Indies, Malaya, Siam, United Kingdom, Brazil, etc. Let's go to the Dutch East Indies. Then you can click on this. And here you can see how much rubber you want. You can see that we can, if we want, we can get 80 rubber. But for every 8 rubber, you need to use one of your civilian factories. So what I'm going to do is click this button, set the amount that we need to buy to fill our needs in our current resources. Which is 8. We need 8 rubber. So this 8 rubber is exactly enough to no longer get any penalties for our production. I'm going to send the trade agreement. We are going to use 10 of our convoys for trade, that is fine. And we can now also see the blue line, which is the transport lines. The white lines on the map are supplies, and the blue lines are trade. You can see that the trade with the Dutch East Indies is going all the way over here to Sumatra. So if we're going to war and we don't have a good navy, then the enemy navy can raid this supply line and get rid of all our rubber. That is why we want to make our own rubber at some point. So that is taken care of. It doesn't show you right now because we are still paused, but if I wait one more day, I can actually show this. Press spacebar. And now we are at 13, so we are at 1 hour in the 1st of January instead of 12. And you can see now we don't have a rubber shortage anymore. Now you can also see that this number is yellow. So what is going on over here? We have 281 steel that we make in Germany. We are importing 16 steel, you can see the blue line, going to Sweden, from Sweden. We don't need any steel from Sweden at this point in the game. So we really want to stop this trade route because it's costing us 2 civilian factories. We want to use our civilian factories to build more factories and snowball our economy. We don't want to use them on trade if we don't have to. So we're going to click this thing and we will cancel the trade route with Sweden. Now when I unpause the game again and go to 2 o'clock, you can now see we only have 133 available. And we are not importing any steel anymore. So we have taken care of all the things here. We have no more shortages. We are using exactly enough tungsten for our artillery. And we don't have any penalties. Now I will explain a little bit about these numbers over here, because you can already see we have 281 steel, but we are only having 133 available. So how is that possible? Well, from the 281 steel that you can see on the map here, 90, 14, 74, 16, that should all count. When you sum that all up, it's going to 281. We are using 78 for all our production, and we are giving 70 away. And that is because of our trade law. There are, I think, 4 or 5 trade laws in the game. And Germany started with a trade law where you give always 1/4 of your goods to the market. So from our 281, 25% is 70. This is just gone for us. Other people can trade this from us and take it, but it's not always going to happen. So that is just steel we cannot, we don't have any access to. And the same counts for oil. We are making 4 oil in Hanover, over here. But we are exporting 1 to no one. It's just on the market right now. If people want 1 oil from us, no one wants 1 oil because it's a waste of a civilian factory. You want 8 oil. So this 1 oil is just gone. So Dutchie, why do you want to export your goods if you maybe want it yourself? Well, I guess it's time that we're going to take a look at the trade laws here. It's also part of the resources. So when you click on the flag here, you can see this screen. And your trade, law and government tab is over here. So when I click on this, you can, oh yeah, there are 4. There are 4 trade laws in the game. And here you can see once again that we are exporting 25% of our goods to the market. But since we are having limited exports, we also get some bonuses. We get a 5% construction speed bonus. Our research speed is 1% quicker. Our factories that are making the guns and the artillery and the planes, and our dockyards who make all the submarines right now, are also doing it 5% quicker. And the enemy has a harder time to get intelligence on us, so the limited export is actually very good for Germany at the start of the game. Now if you're having a very, very rich country, you can also go to free trade. Then 80% of all your goods are going to the market, so you only have access of 20% for yourself. But you get all these bonuses. You get 15% construction speed, 10% research speed. This would snowball your economy like crazy. But as Germany, we cannot lose 80% of our goods. If I go to the trade screen again, if I would lose 80% of our 281 steel, 1/5. What is 1/5 of 300? That is around 30? No, 60 or 70. Then we would almost have no more steel for ourselves. Then we would get penalties on all our production trees. So that is how the trade laws work. You export 25 or 50 or 80% or 0% to the market. And then people can trade it with or not, but you have no access to it anymore. And that is how the trade laws work. So at the moment we have a very good situation. We have spare aluminum and steel for more guns, for example. And we get a small bonus for our construction speed and 1% research speed. So we're not going to change this. Changing this again costs political power from our PP accumulation over here. So you don't want to spend your points on this at the start of the game. Okay, we went over that. Am I going to assign our divisions right now? That is the question. Let me think about this for a while. Okay, I made up my mind, and we are going to first take a look on the remaining things over here. So let us start with clicking on the flag again, because there is a lot of things over here that we didn't talk about yet. So you can hover over your leader. We have Adolf. Well, we already know that it gives 25% more political power, and it also has a AI modifier, so we don't. That's not for us. And we have more weekly war support from casualties. So if we're going to war, we get more war support. Because we are a Hitler. We are already in the fascist. We are the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei. And we are fascists, and that means that we could go to war with anyone right now. There are countries in the game that are not fascist. For example, the UK. And they cannot go to war at all until this number goes up. The world tension or something like that. We will take a look at this later as well. But first let's take a look at this screen here. So here's our national focus. We are doing the 4-year plan. And here you can see our national spirit. So we have the bitter loser. It's very hard for us to not be fascist. We have the general staff. Our divisions get 5% more organization. And we have more planning speed, so a good bonuses for our armies. And there they are, the MEVO bills. So these are all the bonuses that the MEVO bills give us. Yes, it's costing us a little bit of political power, but that is completely fine, because that is what our political power is for. But we get all these bonuses over here. The most important for us at the start of the game is the consumer goods factories factor. I will explain this very soon. We also get construction speed for military factories, air base, naval base, land forts, coastal forts, dockyards, anti-air refinery, fuel silo and radar station. At the start of the game we are only interested in building civilian factories. And the consumer goods factories minus 33% is very helpful for that. Now how does that work? Well, let's go over to the construction tab a little bit here. And take a look, a closer look at these numbers over here. So we have 34 civilian factories. And we are importing 8 rubber. It's costing us -1. We are using 25 on the construction, which you can see over here on the infrastructure. And we are using 8 on consumer goods. There is always a number of factories that needs to be used on consumer goods. And that is this tab over here. And you can change this with your economy policy. We'll go over that very soon. And we go back to the screen you see when you click on the flag. But right now, 8 of our civilian factories are gone to consumer goods. So for daily use, making canned food and radios, I guess, and I don't know what. They are gone. They are not used for anything. And it's already saying it. The people expect 14% of our 62 civilian and military factories to produce consumer goods. This need is filled by our 34 civilian factories. We have 34 civilian factories. And that means that 14% of 34 is 8. And then we have 26 factories left that we are using for trade and building. So the lower the amount of consumer goods, the better. There is absolutely no gain in getting more consumer goods factories. They are wasted. They are not doing anything. Yeah, they are doing something in the background. It's pure fictive, these 8 consumer goods. They don't do anything. They are a waste, just like the resources are a waste for us on the market. And we can change this by the economy law over here. Now, as Germany, you start with partial mobilization. This is actually really good, because you can see that the expected number of factories put on consumer goods is 25%. The Allied factories start with civilian economy. The expected number of factories put on consumer goods is 35%, and you can see how slow and all these penalties are for building factories, getting less oil, etc. So getting further to the south is better for your consumer goods factories. So we have 25%, but if we would go to war economy, it goes to 20%. So 5% will become free again for our use. And when we go to war economy, our military factory construction speed is going up as well. So you really want to go further this line here. And you can also see on the downside of this tooltip that because we are fascist, we can do this. But if you are not fascist or communist, for example Great Britain and France, they need war support. And they also need to be... I think there's also some sort of world tension modifier behind this. So right now we are at partial mobilization, which gives 25%. Yes. But we also have the stability bonus, minus 13.6, and we have the Mavo bills, minus 33%. That means that we have, from the 25%, we have modifier of 57. And that gives 14% of our civilian factories. So the Mavo bills are, I would say, helping us with a couple of factories. And that would really snowball our economy. So we don't want to get rid of the Mavo bills. Okay, we have talked about all of this. You can see that the fascist faction is at 60% popularity. We also have 20% communist in the cabinet right now and 20% democratic. We have absolutely no non-aligned faction at the moment in our cabinet. And this also affects your stability. Your ruling party popularity at the moment is 9%. So if we can get our faction higher in popularity, then our stability will go up, which gives us more political power and more factory and dockyard output. And we will also get less consumer goods. So we absolutely want to get our stability to 100% if we can. And we're going to try to do this as well. Okay, we've talked about this. We've talked about Hitler. And then I think it's time to go over these things over here. Now, we have talked about our trade laws already and what this means, right? You can put more stuff to your market, but you get a nice bonuses, but you also lose your resources. So limited export is fine right now. We've talked about the partial mobilization, what it does to our consumer goods factor, 25% right now. We want to go to war economy at some point, so it's going down to 20%. And then we have the conscription laws over here. This gives you more manpower. At the moment we have 2.5% recruitable population, which gives us 1.2 million men ready to fight. If this number goes to 300,000 or 200,000, because we are training everyone into the field, you want to go to extensive conscription and free up another 2.5% recruitable population. But the further you go, the more penalties you get. Yes, you will get more manpower, but if you go to extensive conscription, the training time will go up with 10%. Well, that's not a big deal, right? If you go here, service by requirement, you get a huge amount of manpower. People that are old and maybe too young are going to... oh no, all adult self. So this is still somewhat okay, but you lose construction speed, your factories will get slower. So you preferably don't want to get this at the very end of your war. But yeah, it costs political power and we don't have a manpower problem, so we're not going to change anything here. And then we are going to these buttons over here. These are your political advisors. These three buttons are the same. It opens up your political advisor screen. It doesn't matter which one I pick, it opens the same screen. And we want to fill our cabinet here with people that give bonuses. Now, luckily we are doing the 4-year plan, because we will get a new political advisor, Jalmar Schacht. We want this one because it gives construction speed to our infrastructure and our civilian factories. And that is exactly what we are doing right now. So in 70 days we would be able to hire this one. There are lots of things you can pick. We have fort construction speed, not very useful. Supply hubs, not very useful at the start of the game. Albert Spear can change your civilian to military factories later in the game. So we want this one, but you can see we have a red cross. We need to complete a 4-year plan national focus, and then we can hire this guy for only 75. We're absolutely gonna do this. This guy gives a construction speed to your military factories. This may be good for the later game. We could try to become communist with Ernst Thälmann, or democratic, because these two give democracy support over time. We absolutely don't want these two in the cabinet. Then we have Joseph Goebbels. This one is a good one because it gives war support and it gives fascism support, so that makes our own party stronger over time, which gives more stability. So Goebbels is a very good one to get. Then we have Rudolf Hess. That gives it gives more PP gain. So you spend PP to gain more PP over time, 15%. It can actually be really good, and it gives a bonus to heavy fighters. Heinrich Himmler is good later in the game. When you occupy territories, this guy is better at handling these territories. Then we have Martin Bormann, who gives 15% PP, just like Rudolf Hess. But Rudolf Hess dies later in the game. So we could go and spend our first political power on getting more political power. That is a possibility. This one is really not useful. I don't think we're gonna use this one at all. And this could be better for trading, but that's also not very useful. So we have these two for the political power, Goebbels, maybe Heinrich Himmler, and these two for the industry. We want these 3 slots with a couple of these people filled. Now you also have these buttons over here. For example, the tank designers, the ship designers, aircraft designers, material designers, and the industrial concern. It all costs 150 points, and they all give their own bonuses. For example, you can get armor and heart attack bonuses, reliability and soft attack. We will go over that when we are going with the tanks. We are not making any research to naval, so we don't want to select the ship designer at the start of the game. Same goes for air designer. We are researching some gun thing here, so we could get a speed for the guns. This only gives a research speed boost, but it's very useful. Now what I want to do is get our industrial concern very quickly, because we are doing a lot of industry. And we could get 5% and 15% research speed with this one, IG Farben. We could also just get the industrial research speed with Krupp, and Siemens gives us our electronic research speed, so I want to pick some of these. Then we have some theorists. These ones make your doctrines cheaper. We did not look at doctrines yet, but we want this one before we click any doctrines. Most likely Erich von Manstein. And here are the military staff, the Chief of Army, Navy and Air Force. Once again, it costs you 100 political power and something else we didn't talk about yet, and they give bonuses to your armies. But not only that, they also give army experience, which is this symbol over here. You have Army, Navy and Air experience, and you use these to change your templates and get doctrines. But we're going to talk about that later. So that is the Chief of Army with the bonuses. Same goes for the Navy. There we have 2 choices. Air Force as well. Then we have a military high command. These ones do not give any experience, but they just give a bonus to your army or your navy or your air force. And these 3 buttons are the same, just like these 3. It opens up the same screen with these 10 advisors. So we're gonna fill up our whole cabinet here, our whole military staff, with all the political power we get at the start of the game. That is the main goal at the start. We want to get as many research boosts at the start of the game here. Okay, we have talked about this screen. We've talked about the decision screen, the research screen. Yeah, research we are doing. Then there is a diplomacy screen. Now it opens up Poland because I clicked on Poland last time with a right click, and then it opens up the diplomacy. But a very easy way to open diplomacy is just right click on a nation. Right click on France, right click on United Kingdom, Spain. And then you open up the diplomacy screen over here. You can see all the national spirits from other countries, how their cabinet is. You can see that they are guaranteeing Czechoslovakia, Romania and Yugoslavia at the moment. That is what France is doing, at least. The United Kingdom is having the British Raj and Malaya as puppets, and they have all their dominions. No, they are just in a faction. So all these countries are in a faction with United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, etc. So that is what you can see on the screen. You can see the spirits, and when you click on the details, for example France over here, you can see what they produce for goods. You can see also their stability and war support, by the way. You can see that they are having limited conscription, export and civilian economy. They have the worst economic law, which gives them a lot of penalties. And you can see an estimation of how many planes they have, how many boats, how many military factories. They only have 8 military factories. And we have 28, so we are outproducing France like crazy at the start of the game. And we're going to make use of that. So yeah, you can see a bit more intelligence from other countries in this screen over here, the detail screen. Now, the Soviet Union with their trades, they are in a faction with Mongolia and Tanutuva, which are over here. They are in the Comintern. You can see that they have around 1,000 planes, and Germany only, well, we also have 900 planes. So Great Britain is having more planes than us, but we do have a decent amount of planes, and I want to keep making our air force stronger as well. That is what happens when you right click on a nation. And that was the diplomacy screen. We have talked about the trade screen. We are doing our construction. We are doing our production. We don't have any penalties anymore because we imported our rubber. We are training our infantry and our tanks. And then we have the logistics tab over here. And here you can see how quickly at the moment we are making everything and how much we need. For example, our artillery. We need 118 units of artillery to completely fulfill everything we need. But this number is also counting in all of our new units that we are making. So this will most likely always be red. And that's good, because that means that it's needed for new units, right? So we absolutely want to make sure that we are making enough artillery. We need 7,600 guns for all the artillery we make. We need some more trucks. We need support equipment. And we need a lot of light tanks. And we are only making 0.5 a day, because light tanks are very hard to make. So we will never have enough light tanks. But I'm not going to focus on it because I want to make medium tanks in the later game. Now we have our trains here. We need more fighters. Our fighters are already in the field and they need to get some replenishments. Same goes for our tactical bombers. The close air supports as well, and we are making some naval bombers. And we still have 185 convoys. So that is the logistics screen. Then we have an officer corps screen. Here you can see once again the military high command clicks. That is the same as these three. So when I click here, it opens up exactly the same screen as over here. And here you can see who is your chief of army. This click is the same as this click. And the Navy and the Air Force are also listed over here. You can see all your bonuses that you have for your Army, Navy, or Air Force. And when you click on this button, on these three, you open up your Doctrines. So we have Land Doctrines, Naval Doctrines, and Air Doctrines. We will talk about these when we accumulate experience. You can only get the next Doctrines when you get experience. And you can only get experience by training, by fighting, and by your Chief of Army, Navy, and Air Force. So you want to get these fairly quickly, because you want that 0.3 Army experience a day. You want to accumulate Army experience with your advisors, your chiefs, because they give a substantial amount of experience. Okay, now we have talked about all of that. Now there is something called command power. Command power is this number that you can see over here. Command power is used to hire these people, but it's also used later in the game with your army. And we'll go over that when we have made our army templates and our armies on the battlefield. You can use the command power to give them some boosts. Now we are not getting a lot of command power a day because our war support is low, so that is something why you want your war support up. Your command power gain multiplier will go away, or maybe gets a plus, I'm not sure actually. And that would really help getting your command power to go up, getting more war support. Just a small number. These are the telephones. Okay, we have talked about all these things here. Now there is a music toggle over here. You can go to the next songs. When you have some DLCs, you have way more song lists. I have turned them off because I'm playing vanilla. Here you can increase the speed. We're at speed 1. With spacebar you can pause and play the game. And then there are the main menu. You can also just press escape to go there. There is a help button. Actually opens up a browser to find your stuff on the Wikipedia. Dismissed alerts. Yeah, these opens up a alert you dismiss with right click. Oh, just right click it away. Then we have this button, the globe. This is the world tension history. Right now we have 0 world tension. It goes down with 0.5 per month. And it just gets, we get world tension when we demilitarize this, when Japan declares war on China, when Soviet Union declares on Finland. And more world tension means that the countries that are democratic can do more stuff against you. For example, the UK can only guarantee Poland when there is a certain amount of world tension, I think. But that is more for the democratic countries. We are having it easy, we are fascist, we do whatever we want. So that is this number. We cannot get any achievements because I'm not playing on Iron Man. And then we have a couple of buttons here. When you click on the army button, you can see all your units that we have right now. So these are the infantries. We have a tank. We have 2 tank divisions. We have a mountaineer, a motorized, and a cavalry division. When you click on the navy, you can see our current boats that we have. We will go over that later. And you can see all our air force. We have a couple of planes actually that we already have in the field. Now there are a couple of buttons left here. We are now on the default map mode, which is the army map mode. When you zoom in, you can see our divisions on the map. When you zoom out, they become groups. And this one. There is a navy map mode. We will go over this in a separate video. And a air force map mode. And we're going over this one as well in a separate video. Now there are more possible map modes. I almost never use the other ones really. These 3 buttons are used the most. You can see who your players are, what their alliance is with a color. You can see all the battle plans of your allies. You can turn off and on your day and night loop. Turn it off, you will get very bored by it. I can show it what it is if I unpause the video and press plus so the game goes a little bit quicker. You can see that the nighttime is setting in Europe. And now it's nighttime. It looks nice on the map, but it's getting very, very frustrating. So turn it off, please. Displaying focal 4 and your radars. Now, we have talked about all the buttons except for these two, and that will happen in the next video. We're going to talk about the divisions and how to assign them to an army, and that is where these two buttons are for as well. That will happen in the next episode, and then I think we might actually start playing as well. So hopefully you're still with me with this tutorial. Make sure to like, subscribe, take a look at the links in the description, and I hopefully see you in part 3. Bye bye guys.